Thank you very much, and very, very good afternoon. I think this is one of these sessions in the afternoon. It's an honor to be here today, and I think this is a fantastic forum that brings together so many of the young, bright minds together at this particular event. At the end of the 2 days session, I think it's always hard to come up with something that can keep people awake and engaged. So in the next 10, 15 minutes, I'm actually going to talk to you a little bit more about what we can bring from here and where we can go from here in the next 10 years or the next decade. I actually like the theme of the summit, which is connecting the youth, shaping the future. It could be, it's not only relevant, but it's also very timely. Because when you look at what's going on today, I think it's one of the defining moments of the world economy, where talent is not only being sought after, but it is also something that is creating new wealth. So I am actually going to talk to you today about how we can create a $10 trillion creative economy partnership by 2035. So I think if you look at this partnership, it's a partnership amongst the youth of this region. ASEAN and India, we have been talking about, it has almost half a 606, almost about 1.54 billion population in India and another 500 in this ASEAN part, of which 600 is the youth. So if we can build the bridges between the institutions, the infrastructure, and the incentives, it can actually help us to create this partnership. And in that, three, we have three different steps that I have listed out. First is to create an economic partnership treaty within the region. Now, this partnership treaty could actually be an agreement, could be a charter, which could happen as early as probably by the end of next year. It's a three-year timeline that I have suggested here. And this charter could include IP protocols, investment mechanisms, and the cultural cooperation that is feasible. The second thing that you will need if you do have such a partnership is the funding or is the financing part of it. And there I am proposing that a $10 billion joint creative economy fund is created. It must be a sovereign-backed investment fund. The private sector is certainly invited to come and participate in this fund, but this fund can actually help the startups, the OTT, the platforms, the gaming firms, the AI-driven art. This will open up a huge new opportunity. You're talking about trillions of dollars being generated. And it's not just for the region, it's for the world. What we would like to see that if you are able to create this architecture, this financial architecture, it's a blended finance facility that can be created. It can bring together urban creative clusters, it can bring some gaming firms, and it can drive this economic opportunity. The third important part is the cross-border collaboration. And that's where I said the infrastructure for the cross-border content needs to be created. This could be the shared digital libraries, the translation services, the cloud infrastructure, and this could be developed through a ASEAN Creative Commerce Hub, which I have actually proposed. Now, this is by no means something that you have to do it. It's just a suggestion so that you are able to create this partnership, and this partnership can then blossom into something more regional, which is when we go regional, we go and scale up this entire opportunity. So go global, create platforms through the people and products. And there again, I have three ideas for you. The first is launch an ASEAN-India creative grid. I heard about the ASEAN energy grid, but I'm proposing here an ASEAN-India creative grid, which will be a mega digital platform that can be used for streaming, e-learning, digital galleries, and the IP marketplace. It can feature the creator tools, it can have NFT monetization, and the multi-language support. It's a language of the youth. It is something that you are well aware of. You can connect with it. We need a massive talent mobility framework, which is having visa-free creative residences, maybe create some fellowships. I've just put a number of 100,000 creative fellowships to be created by 2030. The timeline, again, is a 3-year, 2027 to 2030. and where you could actually have some online credentials for creative education and skill certification. The third part, which I have said here, is the export, because it's not just for the region, it's also somehow you need to go beyond our region. So creative export acceleration, which is about a target that I'm proposing for 2031 is $200 billion, which is to co-produce for the world. It's together we co-produce for the world. We have joint storytelling. I mean, I heard about Ramayana, I heard about so much of the culture that we all have, the common heritage we have. Let this be produced into the films, into the musics for the global audiences. Look at K-pop. K-pop is one of the most popular things in India right now. Can we have one ASEAN-India product per market strategy which can take to the world? The third and the final part here is the global dominance. You know, in the current environment, it is important for us to create new opportunities, create new wealth, create new markets, own the future through innovation, influence, and identity. That's the message that I have for you. Again, we have three different elements of that. First is we need to create global creative AI and IP leadership. IP is what really is the money about. So develop or co-develop AI tools for creativity, whether it is animation, whether it is music code, whether it is writing. Lead in the next-gen IP licensing, smart contracts for creators, blockchain-backed royalty systems. Most of the work in the Silicon Valley is done by people coming from this region. And it is really for us now to create this region as a region of opportunity for the rest of the world. Cultural data and analytics infrastructure, again, something that's feasible with the focus that we now have on the data sets that we have. Create a joint Indian creative data hub, which could help to track the talent movement, the content consumption, the global reach, the audience insights. Data is money. It is hard money, and you can create that architecture to make money out of it. Create a creative cities network. I mean, identify 100 plus cities, call them creative by 2035 across ASEAN-India, which have 24/7 cultural districts, 24/7 metaverse versions, gig-based creator economies. As an economist, when you look at, it was first was Stone Age, then was the agriculture economics, industrial, then knowledge, and now is the creative economy. The creative economy can generate millions and millions of jobs for youth like you. It can create new partnerships. It can create completely new world where you will have no competition. Now, to do this, you also need certain enabling factors or enabling ecosystem, so there are three essential enablers that I'm listing out here. The first is the fintech. You need fintech for the creators. Launch regional microfinance platforms. For example, royalty advance systems, creator credit success. So these things will help you to attract finance. Smart monetization, APIs integrated into platforms. Today, the world is going to change. The CBDCs, the CBDCs and the payment systems is going through such a transformative change right now that you will really have smart contracts driving most of the financial markets. In fact, if you look at the financial sector today is going through a huge revolutionary process. Today, if I make a payment, within the next 10 minutes, the money is received across borders. So getting this monetization right is important. Green and ethical creativity. I heard a lot of things being talked about the green economy and things. I think this is something we really need to adopt. Sustainability codes for fashion, media, tourism is a huge economic opportunity. And we need policies on AI ethics. We need policies on the fair labor. And of course, cultural preservation, as we heard, is very important. Last but not the least is the cultural diplomacy. And I call it cultural diplomacy 2.0 because we really need to go beyond our dialogue. We should have creative ambassadors. I mean, there could be creative ambassadors for G20, BRICS, and UNESCO. It's really taking our culture, our creativity to the next level. making ASEAN India as a soft power super bloc. That's what I have written there. As a super bloc in film, in music, in language, in technology and design. We just saw how the ambassador from Vietnam was showing the impact that this music and the film has on the people. Now, the big question is this $10 trillion, where do you get the number for? So I have put it out. I mean, this is by no means a scientific way, but I really looked at some of the elements, from $1 trillion to, let's say, $5 billion that you could create through the global content, through the digital crafts, through e-commerce, through the ASEAN India design. But these numbers are just indicative about the potential that this opportunity has for the region. Now, whenever we have such a plan, there is always a need for us to have certain things to be done in the immediate future. And this is what I call the call for action. So here I have said that maybe by the end of next year or by the time you have this conference next year, this summit meeting, maybe establish an ASEAN India Creative Economy Commission or a group, sign a charter that really brings out this creative economy that has to be created. If possible, try and launch a fund. You don't need to get all the money at one go. Even a seed funding to start with is important. Once you create such a fund, I'm sure there'll be many other people who will like to invest in it. And if possible, host the first ASEAN-India Creative Summit. I have a quote there. When India's billion storytellers meet the ASEAN's billion makers, Singapore and others, the results is not just going to be culture, it's going to be capital, it's going to be money. And at that note, let me end with this, that together ASEAN and India can own the next decade, next global creative decade by building the world's most inclusive, original, and interconnected creative economy. Thank you very much.